I'm gonna go ahead and call our meeting to order, and we can start with the pledge of allegiance. Oh my God, my mind went blank. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
There we go.
Yay.
All right, we've got a light schedule today, so hopefully this won't take too much time. We do have a quorum. We're missing a couple of members, but there's 5 of us voting members, so we have a quorum, which is good. We can continue. I will say I need a substitute secretary today. Could somebody, is somebody willing to step in for the day?
Would you like me to go ask Holly to sit in?
Oh, if that's an option, unless somebody wants to do it.
Said something to Mary if she wanted to start today and
You want
try
me to
it out
substitute
and see
today?
how it goes.
I'll do it, yeah.
All right, she'll substitute today. Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mary, you're a good kid.
All right. Okay, so there's a couple of announcements. They're the exact same ones that we always have. This meeting is being recorded by the local scene. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. There's an open position at the Old Colony Elder Services Board. See Lucy outside, so I'm not sure if she's coming in. Maybe not. There are several volunteer opportunities at the Council on Aging, including but not limited to Meals on Wheels, volunteer help at the cafe, volunteer help needed with computer skills, and senior tax write-off opportunities. If you're interested in any of these or would just like to volunteer in general, please reach out to the director of the COA. And as a reminder, the email for the advisory board is coab@kingstonma.gov. We'll start with open forum. Is anyone here for open forum? That's gonna be enough. All right, we'll move on. Secretary's report. So we all got the report from Joan. Did anyone have any comments, additions, questions, corrections? Anybody? If no one does anyone want to make a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
That's right, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
And I second it. Perfect, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Bear with me. All right, cool. Nice. All right. I'm gonna add another little announcement here, just because, so in one of the things that I had a handout for was a reminder about ethics training for our board members. As of right now, we've only been notified that Mary Harriman needs to take hers. I did reach out to Paul Gallagher's office to find out. It's every 2 years, so it's not a once and never have to do it again. So some of us have been around long enough that we could be coming up on our next potential cycle. So I've asked Paul, he said he'll get back to me. So this time next month, at the very latest, I'll know at least if any of us are close to expiring. Okay, so I'll report back. Mary's already got plans to take hers and get that taken care of. So that's our announcement regarding that. Okay. There was a request to put our meet and greet sessions on the agenda. Donna, that request was from you. Would you like to lead that discussion?
Well, the last month, it was Kathy and I, and we've done it a couple times, and I don't know about anybody else here, but we haven't got any customers.
Sure.
And I'm thinking now with this email, it's out there and people will know to contact through email. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but we're not.
I think your experience has not been, it has been the same as anybody that's served that role over the last 6 or 7 months or so. Anyone else have any thoughts on whether or not this should continue?
I'm
Or
just curious if anything has come through on the email.
only the one email, maybe whatever that was, 2 months ago-ish.
Yeah.
There was one concern which I addressed and had discussed it at that meeting. I want to say that happened in April.
I really believe that we give them enough opportunity to know that somebody would be
Sure.
here if they needed to come and speak to anybody, so I feel the same way. With the email, they have, you know, they can get in touch with us.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts, comments?
I'll second what Kathy said. I agree with that too.
Okay. So, does somebody want to make a formal, I mean, a
I'll
formal,
make a motion
Sure.
to discontinue the meet and greet.
anyone want to second that?
I second.
All in favor?
I,
Okay. I mean, and I'll just add, you know, we can pick back up again. If we decide that there's a need for something else in the future, we revisit it. It's fine. Okay. Great. All right. Moving right along. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my gosh, I just snorted.
Oh my God. Drum roll, please.
Nominations. Now we all ran out of the room.
I'm going.
So, all right, so we can do this two-part, we can do this one part, it doesn't matter much. You know, as Paul had explained to us in the past, we can make nominations today and vote next time. If everyone's comfortable and nobody, you know, we could make nominations and vote today. So I suppose we'll start with nominations. Go for it.
So
Start the
I'd like
conversation.
to make a motion to nominate Katie to continue being chair for the new season.
Did you hear my eye roll?
I second that.
I heard it.
I don't know what.
All in favor?
Aye.
and I would like to nominate Donna to be vice chair.
Awesome. Yeah, right, nearly as fast. All in favor?
Aye. And I would like to nominate Mary Harriman for our new secretary.
We have a second?
I second that.
We'll give it to Kathy. Technically, you can't, but that's
I
okay.
know, I know.
That's okay.
Well, I ain't even.
Maureen nominated.
You okay with that?
Mary.
Yeah, but we never really have.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Do you have any thoughts?
Huh?
Would you like to be nominated for secretary?
Yeah.
Not just for today, position. Okay.
Yeah, don't mind me, I'm like,
Hasn't had enough coffee.
like,
She's writing.
just trying to write everything down.
And
No, that's it.
I will make a, if you will allow me, if you feel that it's moving so fast when the conversation's going that you can't understand or keep up, I would be happy to get you a recorder. Now, clearly, the meeting itself is recorded, so you can go back and look at the meeting. But a lot of times, it's sometimes hard to stop what you're looking at on the computer or your iPad or whatever, and then write things down. If you're, sometimes I found that if you're just hearing it, it's easier to write as they're talking. So if,
We'll work with you to figure that out.
well,
What the best.
if you need a recording device, a little mini recorder, I'd be happy to get that to you after July 1st.
Okay, no problem.
When the new budget comes.
When the
into
new
play.
budget comes over.
Well, thank you, everybody, for that. Thank you for
But that was
stepping up
easy.
for that.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Katie.
Yes, Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna. Continued.
Yeah. I had a thought and I don't remember what it was, so. Oh, I think what I was gonna add was, I could never keep up with the notes and I always went to the recording, so it's just the way it
And
is.
I'm probably gonna, after July 1st, I'm probably gonna ask you, well, how about if I just tell you now, after July 1st?
I would be happy to do that. I would be happy to.
Because I'm over here going, okay, now, I know Donna nominated Katie,
Yeah.
and I know Maureen nominated me, and I'm like, okay.
But what are all the?
Yeah,
I
now I-
also nominated Donna.
And if you have any questions, I mean, obviously the tape is there, but there's all your other members.
We've
that
all,
can-
many of us have been that.
Yeah,
role, so we
yes.
can certainly help you.
Yes.
Very good. Moving along. The building usage agreement, we've had the current form for a while, but Mary Beth, correct me if I'm wrong, you had thought you might have some revisions to share with us
I get in the packet,
in your packet, perfect.
in the packet.
Um,
This is not meant for discussion today.
good.
Oh.
My feeling is that take this document home. I did the red line version so you can see. I tried to do a number of things. I tried to just streamline it.
Yep.
I really didn't make a whole lot of changes. I just made sure that stuff that was in there that was superfluous just got sort of crossed off. That I just codified information all in one area, just to try to make it seem more of a little bit more of a
Concise.
streamlined, yeah, more of a streamlined document.
Great. How
So-
old is this?
It was developed 12 years ago when the building was built, so it needed another look, and what was interesting was I found the file that they had used from like 6 or 7 other senior centers to develop this, and literally the language was just picking up verbatim. And so I think because they were doing it in a void, not knowing what it was going to be like, we now have experience to show us the way.
Well, and it's just like anything else, you know, stuff gets revisited every few years.
Yes, this is
And-
long overdue.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's good. So, my comments will just be, let's review all of this and it will be back on the agenda for July.
Yep.
Okay. Item number 4, we're gonna pass over. I put it on the agenda because I wasn't sure if, we were gonna have that, but we don't. So we'll skip right over that. Mary Beth, I threw, the plan for new age and dementia back on. Now, I know that we had discussed that last month.
Right.
I only threw it back on mostly from was there any, like, how did you feel or see next steps being? So you and I had a brief discussion about possibly trying to fund this, and I just thought maybe it doesn't have to be as thorough as your presentation about the new program was last month for us, but, you know, basically like any new news.
So, there's, some other possibilities came open from other research work that I had done, but they are far out. They're literally, 9 months to a year away, just to apply. Then you still have to wait to find out if you're going to get it. The compact grant, by the way, is coming open again this summer.
Great.
I did send an email to Keith yesterday. He is on vacation this week. I told him when he comes back, could we circle back to this and just have a discussion about it? But I also realized that if we wanted to move on this, there might be a possibility that we could do it with funds that are available. And by the way, I gave you guys, and I apologize, but I literally just got the updated version of what has been spent so far this year on there. And these are all of our operating accounts, right? So the one account that I think I might have money to be able to do this, and you weren't here last month, but we had, I spoke with Joanne from Duxbury, Joanne Moore, the COA director there. And they did not have UMass gerontology do their needs assessment. They had Old Colony Planning Council. And so I reached out to Old Colony. I'm waiting to hear back from Mary Waldron, who was the director of OCPC for the first steps on this. And in their particular case, Joanne did happen to get a grant written for her, believe it or not, by our own Valerie Massard here, who is our community person, our building community individual here that is a department head for Kingston, and she had been in Plymouth before. That's how long this process had been going on. And she only paid $10,000 for it, not the $35,000 that had been indicated by UMass Boston. So there is a very strong possibility that our formula grant will allow us to access $10,000 of those funds to be able to pay for having the needs assessment done. What I'm putting this out now. I don't necessarily want you guys to have a discussion about it. I want you, again, like the building usage. Think about this for a few minutes over the month and come back and let's have that conversation. Because I think it's a way that's going to allow us not to have to continue to wait and hope And are we gonna get it? Are we not gonna get it? Is it available? Who do I have to use to get it? I mean, honestly, if I had been able to be the person that could have accessed the compact grant by myself last year, I stood a very good chance of getting the funds, but the problem was I don't operate in a void, in a vacuum, and so it needs the town administrators hand to apply for it. That's how the Commonwealth works. And because his needs didn't come up until much later in the year, that's why we had the disconnect on it. So, no harm, no foul. We're here now. Actually, we found out we could do it for less money, a whole lot less money. So, I will know, and the other thing too is that by the time we come to meet for July, I'll know what's in my, what's available to me in my formula grant.
You had mentioned briefly on the phone that there may be an opportunity, so similar to, a year or so ago, we met with a woman from BU, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin something. And she gave us a presentation. Do you happen to know if there may be a similar person that could possibly do a similar presentation for us, just to kind of give us an idea of, this is our process, this is what our survey looks like, this is what,
Yep.
We've got had our mindset on the Holy Grail, so to speak. And while this sounds like it will still be an amazing survey to do and ultimately still give us some good guidance, it may be nice to know, if there are any differences or any gaps.
So to answer your question, yes, it was one of the reasons why I reached out to Mary, because I want them to come and do a presentation for this group to show them what they're capable of doing. But if you go back to that Duxbury packet that I gave you, they used OCPC, so you can actually see the needs assessment that was done and the questions that were asked.
Yep.
You
It does look like it'll be very comprehensive.
It's very comprehensive, and don't forget that we always have the ability to turn this conversation to where we want it to go, meaning if we want to make sure we get information in a certain area, we
We'll ask
have
those-
them ask
we'll cater-
questions,
cater that
ask those
survey.
questions about that, yes.
Good.
So yeah, no, I've got Mary on my to-do list this week to make sure to circle back with her and see if we can get her in here and, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good, excuse me.
Great.
Money wise, could gifts and grants be included in money to use for the assessment? Say somebody left us some money or whatever, can we use that towards paying towards the 10,000 if we get approved on that?
So we have a gift account that it has taken an incredibly long time to build up to what it is. And I mean, I'm going back a long time.
Right.
And it's only like $7,000 that it took that long. I mean, easily since before this building, they started that gift account. So that's why it's taken, so I'm sort of loath to take that chunk of money that took so long. I'd rather use it for something that, for example, I used the bocce court. I used it to buy the bocce court. I felt that was a worthy cost to be able to use for a gift account for a one-time use, not for an ongoing type of thing. That's not to say now that going forward, that I'm not going to still continue to seek outside grants. That's why I want to talk to Keith, because if I can keep the formula grant intact, that would be my first choice. But if there is the ability to still have money left over for fiscal year 25, then I would be willing to have that discussion and go forward. I need to, in my world, I need to run that by you guys. You need to have a discussion, decide if this is a good use of the funds. I would ask that you take a vote on it to support it or no, it's up to you. And then if you decide that that's the way that you want to go, even knowing that I'm still going after other grants, I would be bringing this, I've mentioned this to Keith. I would be bringing it to the Board of Selectmen, because I would want to make sure that they were comfortable with doing this and that they understood why we would, well, they know why, but where the funds were coming from to do it.
And I'd like to add, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as we've been discussing all along with this survey, while it seems on the surface that it's simply something that would benefit the elders in the community, really, it is a community-wide survey, so. My personal opinion and personal preference is. I would like to see if through the channels that Mary Beth has discussed, like to see the burden of it, the expense be shared. And not just be
Out of our budget. line
simply
item,
burden.
Yes.
That would have
burden.
been my next.
Right, so I'd like to follow the path if possible, see where this brings you, and your opportunities bring you. And then short of that, maybe we revisit other things, other ways to get it. I suppose if you know of someone that specifically wants to donate $1,000 to this cause, I can't imagine that can't be used, but I agree that why should the COA carry the burden of something that will ultimately benefit every member of the town?
That's what I was going to ask.
And that's been our argument all along. That has been our argument, looking at the selectmen.
Yeah.
This is not a elder services exclusive issue. This is a town-wide issue. The town should be paying attention to this. The town should be supporting this and ultimately funding this.
Yes. And
So-
Valerie has offered, she said, as we get closer to these dates on these other grants, I'd be happy to work with you to get them done, because she knew that I had reached out to Joanne. Joanne said that she had done them. When I finally reached out to her, we had missed it by a whisker,
Mhm.
the date on it. So it was really kind of,
Sure.
yeah, but it's fine. I think truer words were never spoken, that it may be an initiative started by us. That this truly takes.
Doesn't
the village.
exclusively
No,
benefit
this really is about the village of Duxbury, becoming something that every person that lives here is gonna benefit by this initiative.
Anybody have any other comments or questions or thoughts or? Okay,
Well, not only is it people that are 60, say 60 and older, it can be people under 60.
Disabled.
Just taking them that.
But it's
that
history.
comes
And if
on
anybody
them
aging into this
after
category too,
Yeah.
this is why,
Alzheimer's,
realistically,
same
so
thing.
look at how long it's taken us to get approval for a survey.
Yeah.
Right, imagine how long it's gonna actually take, once that's done, to actually implement anything, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so many people are gonna be aging into the benefit of whatever gets set in place, put in motion. That's why people need to be paying attention. Everybody.
The same senior that walks on that sidewalk with her cane, his or her cane, or their walker, is used by the mother pushing a baby carriage. And if there's no sidewalk, that's not improving the quality of life for our seniors that need to be able, for anybody that needs to take access to the town to be able to,
Yeah.
be out there and enjoy what we have.
Yeah, no, this is a real deficit that I think the town of Kingston suffers from, is some of that long-term foresight, long-term planning, so I really hope that we get some traction with this on round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, stay tuned.
We'll get some traction.
Yes.
Budget review, so I don't know how much review we can do at the moment, but we have it. Mary Beth, so this is year to date, I'm guessing through the end of May.
So this
One more
is-
year of
So she generated this report on June 10th. So that meant that all of the bills that were turned in by the end of June 3rd.
So essentially, there's one more month worth of the
Yes, yes.
fiscal calendar ends June 30th.
Yes.
So this is a tally summary, I guess is a better way to say it, with 1 month left in the remaining.
Right. And I don't have fiscal year 25 because they have to actually close out the old year before they can plug the figures in for the new year.
Okay,
So
so there's not even a proposed budget.
oh, well, no, that was voted at town meeting.
Okay,
But it's not something that I can give
Like
out because
print.
I don't have, it's like, it hasn't been developed yet
okay.
for 24.
Do you think you'd have that before
No.
the second week in July? You probably will still won't even have it.
We're not even closed out yet. We haven't closed out 24 yet at that point.
Yeah,
You need to give them,
Early
yeah, they
August.
need, yeah, you need to give them some time in order to develop that. So I will have it for August.
And there's always bills coming in later anyway that need to be.
We're not here for the COA.
No,
No,
I'm just,
no, we don't,
I know you don't, I'm
we don't,
thinking.
yeah.
big picture.
I mean, just a
Yeah.
quick glance, you know, literally just a quick glance, there's several categories that are underused 11 months in. I'm curious, can you tell me or tell us how, if there's extra funds that had been allocated for certain categories that don't end up getting used within the next 30 days? Is there an ability to use those, or do they carry, like, how does that work? Does the extra
No,
money get
nothing-
carried over?
It must
Does
be
it-
used, nothing can be carried over, it must
Okay.
be used. So what you do is when you look at this, so for example, you're probably looking at equipment repairs and maintenance that there's. You know, the available budget is 28, 23, 36.
Yep.
Right, so what happens is that when that line item was put in long before I came here, and there was a reason for that. So you never touch a line item, even if it hasn't been used, because the general feeling is if the freezer goes and you need to pay a $1,500 bill, you keep it
You
in
want to keep it
place.
there, sure.
But what you do is you see that there and you say to yourself, okay, I've been given this money, I need to spend it wisely. And while we're at it, why don't, for example, I'm thinking I should probably put in another order for food in the month of June, just so that I have some proteins and other items available for us in the freezer. So, and that will probably not come out of the food budget, that will probably come out of that equipment repairs, because I'll make a transfer into the food line item. And that will position us very well for the upcoming fiscal year
So
25.
there's an ability for you to do some of that,
They do transfers.
transferring the
Yes,
money and
yes.
and not officially losing some of this,
See,
but
what-
being able to use some of it.
So what happens is that what you don't use goes to other departments that need it. Same
Right.
thing, so if you have, for example, we had a line item not used this year. Which was for outreach, and I have some news on that, I'm sorry, I forgot to include it. That line item, because that amount of money ended up not being used. The Carol McCoy, finance director, captured it and used it to close overages on other salary clerical line items for other departments. Okay, our outreach position has been posted. Believe it or not, we've received some resumes in. I have one person that I'm going to be scheduling an interview with sometime toward the end of June. I've already spoken with her and HR, and we're working on a date to get everybody together to have that first interview.
Great.
So, yes.
So even though that, for sake of argument, even though that line item didn't get used, there is a line item for.
That's not on here
Next
because
month.
that's salaries.
Oh, okay,
That's
so it's not
different.
even, it doesn't hit you.
Yes,
that way.
I just gave you expenses. I
Okay.
just gave you the money that we spend money on to buy things here for the senior center.
Okay,
We're fine on the other side. That's never been an issue.
okay.
So.
I'm happy to hear that the outreach.
Yeah, so
Position
the
will
outreach
be
position,
addressed.
and in speaking with this particular person, she was really happy because, one of the things that, that we have tried to do here, and we're trying to get better at this, is to identify our seniors. I've said this all along. We're flying blind to some degree because we don't know, for example, if we want to have an LGBT caregiver club here meeting once a month. I would have absolutely no idea because I've
Where
never.
to start? How do you-
How do I start?
Right.
Who do I know? How do I identify? Well, there's, if we have someone's in outreach and we use the query questions in such a way, we might be able to find and actively identify who those individuals are. More importantly, from my perspective, I don't want anybody else slipping through the cracks. My feeling has always been, if you catch them early enough in the cycle to know that there's something seriously wrong that's going on in the house. Bills aren't getting paid, and you can tell just by the exterior of a house. Bet me a buck and I'll tell you a senior's living in that house, that the roof's sagging and the windows don't close and the grass is overgrown because they don't have the money to spend on that. And so, one of the things that, I want them to do is knock on doors and talk to the people that are in those homes, identify these individuals. We have our information, we have our own, little, what do we call it, the nosy book. We can see where everybody lives, So let's put a face to these names and see who they are and literally take
Who's at risk?
who's at risk.
at
Let's take the next year and identify who our seniors are. We need to know them, who they are, where they live, what's going on, what are the circumstances, and how we can make a difference in their lives.
Well, and I think that there's probably a correlation between some of these folks that have, I think we like to make an assumption that if there's a need, they're gonna ask for it, but of course, nobody really wants to admit it or ask for it, so this is why I'm thrilled that the outreach position will be filled soon, soonish. And be able to start some of that, because I think I equate it to at-risk kids, at-risk teens, at-risk, they don't step up and say, hey, I need help. They need someone to step out to them and say, I can offer you some assistance. So that's a huge piece of I think that could be something that we could be missing. And
Well, just to be clear, I've been covering outreach for a year.
Yeah.
So anybody that calls in that has been at risk, absolutely.
no, and not a question.
Because I
Not a-
don't want people
Sure.
to get the
No, no, no.
idea that we have not.
That there hasn't been.
Recording in progress.
We understand. Oh, they must be having those same little glitches they were having last month.
So
No, I
anyway.
totally understand
Okay.
that. It was more of this will just be another opportunity
Yes, this is-
to reach to people that aren't willing or able to ask on their own
Yes.
for assistance.
Pride too, you get to
Yeah.
a certain age and you have an awful lot of pride.
Sure.
But
But suffering alone is so hard, right? And
And there's
so,
with several people out there.
You know,
Excuse me, Mary Beth, are you looking for someone with some shine experience too, or?
Shine not necessarily, because Shine is really just getting people signed up for, for Medicare and like that. The job description is requesting somebody that has, if I'm not mistaken, 3 to 5 years of working with seniors. So we would prefer that you have the outreach experience first, if not in some associated field, bachelor's required, master's preferred. That we're taking this very seriously. I spent the last year working with HR and the Wage and Personnel Board to get these changes put through. And it elevates this position. And it was interesting that the person that I spoke to actually mentioned that. They said, you've elevated this to something other than what I've seen for the typical outreach position, that you want it to be something more than just, as I say, handing out papers. Because it's one thing to just, oh, yes, we're gonna get you signed up for fuel assistance. We can do, we've been doing that. That's not hard.
that's not the void.
That's not the void. The void is finding that person that is currently unable to pay their electric bill and where the gas gets turned off. And there's no heat in the house, and so the pipes burst, and there's 7 inches of standing water down in the basement. And now mold's growing, and now the Board of Health gets involved, and the Board of Health comes in and condemns the house, and you have to be out in 48 hours. That's a true story. Okay, so that's what you want to find to help somebody to be able to stop that at its genesis. And it all starts with questions, just
Sounds great.
having a sense of, you're calling me because you think your mom and dad need a will, let's talk. Right, let's talk, because there's always something else that's going on, so, yeah, so I'm very excited about, finally getting somebody in that chair.
Great, we are too.
Anyway, good.
So my official, we had a light schedule, but we're gonna move right on to your.
I honestly, I don't have much else. Update for the cafe, 243 meals were served in May, and as I had mentioned to you before, people are getting very used to the idea that they don't have to make reservations, so there was only over a 5-week period, 22 people that made reservations for Thursday lunch. We're finally coming to this point where we're able to, people are able to understand that same meal that you're
And be
making a
available.
reservation is going to be available for you, so they don't need to make the reservation.
Sure,
And
yeah, it doesn't appear that the number of meals served has suffered
It hasn't.
at all. So
No.
I mean, a quick glance, I would agree with that analysis that the people are still coming. It's just shifted
Yes.
as far as, yeah. so
And I
that's
heard
good.
we had a great group last week. We had almost 40 people that we served for lunch just last Thursday alone. I want to briefly discuss this with you. It's not necessarily, this isn't something you guys need to take a vote on. But over the last month, since I had seen the last numbers, I really took a hard look at the cafe. And I've spoken with those 3 other directors that have been running cafes for a while around me, which is Duxbury, Marshfield, and Plymouth. And I basically asked them 2 questions. What are your hours? Because I wanted to get a sense, whether, how, were they full-time? Were they part-time like us? What hours were more important to them, right? And the second question was, and this has been something that, my eyes were open. I just said, so is your cafe open to anyone? And all 3 of them said, well, yeah, what are you talking about? And my response was, well, we're a senior center, we only serve people over the age of 60, and they went, oh no, we serve everybody. So if someone under the age of 60 wants to come in, for example, you've got a DPW crew, what if they want to come in and get a bunch of sandwiches for lunch that day? Townhouse people want to come over and have lunch or get it to go.
Yep.
Your grandparents want to bring the grandchildren in, all of those things. So what I'm going to do is, starting in July, I'm gonna make this a trial way of doing this. I want to see what the numbers show us. And perhaps I'm not doing it at the best time of the year, but I'm sort of anxious to just see what
there's
we're
an
gonna
uptick.
get, if there's an uptick, if we get more people coming in, does it make a difference? Obviously September, it's always busy, it's always coming back, things are always moving and grooving. But we've also shifted our menu around for June through September so that we're not offering the same things that we was offering before. For example, you guys had the ham and peanut salad last week.
Absolutely delicious, yeah.
Very different. We're
Was
gonna,
it cold?
it was
Cold
cold.
salad.
It was a cold salad. The cold salad this week is the shrimp and pasta, if I'm not mistaken. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I could see it, so I'm actually personally really happy to hear that there's a move towards making it open to the public, because I think those 2 groups that you just identified, at least geographically, are so close.
yes.
Yeah,
I could see somebody going 15 minutes, why don't I just run over there instead of getting in my car and going out and why not?
And why not?
And why not?
And capture, because my feeling is, it also gives us the chance to have people come in and go, wow, or fix it. I don't care. Give me either one. I'm happy hearing either one. If you give me a wow, I'm happy. If you give me a fix it, my next question is, what do you want me to do? How?
What's wrong?
What's
Yeah.
wrong? What's wrong? How can we fix it? So my feeling is that, looking at this along with a potential change, not in the hours of the cafe, but perhaps trying to tweak his hours so that we can have the cafe open on Friday morning. Okay? This would capture a very large group of women that are here on Friday, that some of them will still be bringing in their own lunch, but they had no option up to this point. And so when I looked at the days that were busiest, Monday's a very slow day around here. Very slow in terms of anybody going into that room or anything. Our activities, it's the same group of people, but honestly, that Friday group is driving this discussion because there are so many people that are using the building on Friday morning.
So when you say tweak the hours, it would be tweaking Phil's hours so that he
Yes.
maybe.
So I
maybe
can't
pull-
go over, I can't go over.
Is
a
he
certain
utilizing
number
like all of his prep time, or could some of that prep time be
Exactly.
tweaked to offer?
to switch it over around here and
Sure.
slide it into a Friday.
Great, I'm
That's
happy
the
about to
discussion.
hear that.
Yeah, no, I've had
I
preliminary.
joined Friday at the right time.
Is there,
glad you did that, Bo.
has the second, cook come back yet?
No,
And, okay, so. Is there any conversation about when and if and possibly,
just that discussions have been held.
okay,
That's, yeah.
yeah, so,
And then, honestly, you guys are aware that the police chief's coming in this Friday morning, 9 o'clock to meet everybody, little meet and greet. Friday.
Yeah,
There goes my knitting room.
It goes by knitting.
Yeah, they're gonna head in there. It's only for a little bit. They're gonna go out, they're gonna grab some food. We're gonna do that. And then the Father's Day barbecue is, next Monday. And I'm really happy about this. We worked with the Duxbury House at the Villages to do a father's Okay, to do a barbecue. I think what's happening is that the chef at the Villages is going to make the food for 40 people. And so we have a whole bunch of guys that have signed up and couples and things.
here?
That's happening here next Monday.
Oh, so it's happening here, but it's that person coming here.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes, there,
That's
and
good.
I bought everybody non-alcoholic beer for the guys.
How many men did you get?
Huh?
How many men?
Well, what we had to do is we had to shift this. Because everybody signed up, but they had not, it was like Mother's Day. If you're a mother, sign up. If you want to bring your husband, please by all means do so, but this is the ladies' day, okay?
Right.
And when we put this one out, the same thing didn't happen. All the ladies signed up for it. And then we explained, we're gonna put you on a wait list down here, okay? Because you're not yet. That hasn't happened. We're going to the guys. So what we did was we did an outreach day. God bless Sharon. She's over in the other room. I hope she can hear this. Because she literally took that list and every man that was in that building on Wednesday, she stalked them down. Would you like to come to the barbecue? Come on, let me sign you up. You can bring your wife. And we got, I think 20. I gotta say there's 20 guys.
Right.
Something
What
like
is
that.
the day? Is it?
It's next Monday.
Monday.
It's the day after
Yep.
Father's Day, unfortunately. We couldn't make it work before, but this is very
Is that the
nice.
17th, maybe? 14, 15, 16, 17, yeah, that's 17.
So, great. Yep, and then we are, just some events for July. We're really excited because we've been trying to get this relationship with the library going for a very long time. Nick Petulis, who is the archivist for the library, will be coming in to do presentations every month about some historic facet of Kingston, so that he can make those presentations. We have a nutrition bingo that's being sponsored by Beth Israel Deaconess. I found a lady that's coming up from Connecticut that's gonna do a one-off program, a 2-hour program to teach you how to play a ukulele. And she's got the
We have to
ukulele.
bring our own ukuleles.
No, no.
Oh, really?
No,
That's great.
this is gonna be, I think this is gonna be a blast. We're working on an acupuncture demonstration,
Great.
okay? Our resin class is coming back at the end of July. And then we are working with the gentleman to do, this is a too legit to quit reverse mortgage seminar. You know, there's a lot of people out in the field that aren't qualified to talk about reverse mortgages.
Sure. No, it's very specialized.
It's
I
very-
think
and he
very
has
specialized.
Every possible certification that I threw at him to be able to talk about this.
Yep.
So he's coming in to talk with Holly and myself, and then we're going to schedule him to be doing that for July.
That's great.
Okay.
No, it's a very powerful tool, but doesn't necessarily work for everybody. So
It doesn't.
it's great. The more education you get about this tool before you implement it, the
It's
better.
a housing tool.
Mhm.
And because you want to keep people in their homes, how do you keep people in their homes? You know, we try to work with the assessor to get them on those programs. Now we want to try to do something for a reverse mortgage that allows them to have a stream of income. Wonderfully, they passed the accessory dwelling unit here in Kingston. So there's another piece of that housing. So we're constantly adding to this puzzle of how can we help people with housing issues. So
Great.
that's another one of them. So yeah.
Mary Beth, I saw the article again in Kingston Living.
Oh, yeah. Did they do the
With the
second
arches.
half?
I got it in the mail.
Did they do the second half of the group?
All
Oh,
bus
good.
drivers in
Yeah.
Phil.
Yeah.
Good. I haven't seen this yet. Good. I'm
Good,
happy
good.
about that. We've got a good crew.
We have reached the end of our scheduled meeting. Any last minute thoughts, questions, anything, any ideas that you want to throw out to put on the agenda for next month at this point in time?
I just have one thing to
Yeah.
say. Please excuse the way my notes are. When I. do
It's
the
okay.
report.
If you have any question
Like I
about
said, we'll
what was
work with
said or
you.
done, you've got all these people here that will or will not know.
Okay.
It's all good.
All right, so I'm
I
gonna
tried to
say,
get everything.
May or may not.
Here we are at 44 minutes.
Yay.
44 minutes, the
Awesome.
month of June, twenty
Here we
twenty-four,
go.
This is a new
Almost
record.
go by the agenda anyway.
new record. Would anyone like to make a motion to,
I'll make a
Adjourn.
motion
I was gonna say quit, motion to quit, motion to adjourn, Kathy, yes,
I second.
all right, all in favor?
All in
I.
favor?
Mo, you always have my
Wonderful.
back.
Really.
Bye, everybody, enjoy the